Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association webinar series. And this morning we will be uh, discussing the topic becoming I relevant. We will tackle the issues and challenges of the guidance counselors in a few
Good morning,
minutes.
everyone. Welcome again to
In a few minutes or in a few moments, we will be starting this webinar. Please stand by. Okay, good morning once again. Welcome to this topic, Becoming Irrelevant Issues and Challenges of Guidance Counselors by the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association webinar series. Now, to start with, I will give to you a little background of the organization. So the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association is committed to to all guidance counselors and other helping professionals to promote mental health and social responsibility. Now, the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association is the accredited integrated professional organization, or the IPO, of the PRC for guidance and counseling, as well as it is one of the PRC accredited continuing professional education provider. Before, the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association was known as the Philippine Guidance and Personnel Association. Uh, Now, its vision is to become a premier Philippine professional organization of counselors with international recognition. And our mission is to commit ourselves to be in the forefront in the development of counselors who are professional, goal-driven, committed advocates, responsive to the needs of their clientele in the promotion of their well-being, to make them proactive contributors in the pursuit of just and humane society. Uh, the history of the PGCA started in 1964 when then the late Father Jaime Bulatao and then Father Antonio Ledesma, now the Archbishop of Cagayan de Oro, both from Ateneo, hatched this idea of a professional organization of guidance workers to Dr. Esperanza Limcaco, just across the the Katipunan, the UP, and the number of professionals gathered in response to their call, and these are mostly counselors, educators, and guidance supervisors. Now, as part of its vision and mission, in 1981, PGCA became a member of the Western region of the American Counseling Association. And it is the only counseling organization in Asia that is given the privilege by the U.S. National Counseling Association. So it's a prestigious moment, and even right now, a prestigious status for the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association to be given this membership. And in 2018, to further forge partnerships, the PGCA and the Australian Counseling Association and the Association of Psychotherapists and Counselors Singapore have entered also into partnerships. Now, the activities of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, usually we have our annual convention during May. However, due to COVID pandemic, it was canceled, and even our mid-year convention every October. Of course, we are also providing continuing professional education programs and courses. We also have our research journal, and as part of our social responsibility, we are giving this free webinar for education and for the knowledge of the general public and other helping professionals, and of course the counselors. And of course, we are forging partnerships, just like, for example, right now with the National Center for Mental Health, wherein we are in partners with the NCMH to provide professional counseling to our clients who were affected by this pandemic. And of course, right now we are working to forge another partnership with the Department of Education, especially for their provision of the mental health and psychosocial support. So this is a work in progress right now. Since the PGCA is the Accredited Integrated Professional Organization, under its umbrella are the national counseling organizations. So we have PACERS, the IPCAP, the SCC, the IOTA Phi, PECA, CDAP, and the FCGNAP. Okay. So that's under the care and the umbrella of the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association. Now, this is our board of directors. And of course, you can join us in our social media accounts, PGCA Official, PGCA Twitter, and right now we are streamed live via YouTube on the PGCA Philippine Counselor channel. Okay, some friendly reminders again for our participants, okay, and those who have been with us in the past webinars. Please don't email the SOCMED for the social media account or email. Rather, email your concerns, especially with the certificates, on the PGCA certificate at gmail.com. We have our secretariat, we have a team there who can answer and to give due disposition to your concern. And of course, right now, for the information of everyone, this webinar is streamed via our YouTube channel, PGCA Philippine Counselor, and we have the link in the PGCA official Facebook page. So please take note of that. Okay. Now, again, our topic for this morning is becoming irrelevant: issues and challenges of guidance counselors. But before we start, I would like to ask you or invite you into a prayer. So let us put ourselves in the holy presence of our God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the gifts, the blessings, and the graces you have showered upon us. We thank you for your presence, for your love, your compassion and care. Send forth your Spirit that as we discuss this topic, may we have an open heart, an open mind, and a kind and compassionate spirit, so that we'll be able to show our care and love to one another, especially in this time of pandemic. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Then the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good morning once again. Welcome to Becoming Relevant, Issues and Challenges of Guidance Counselors. Okay. So last time, or last week, a week ago, we have, during our evaluation, we have received around 14,348 respondents during the crash course guidance and counseling. And based on the data available, those who participated were counselors, educators, other mental health professionals, learners, college students, and there are others. So mas marami talaga. So we have at least siguro 60% teachers and educators. And right now, if we look on the data, guidance counselors all over the Philippines, we have around 4,100 counselors. Yet those who registered themselves as counselors are 5,000. Siguro dito the others here are guidance designates. Okay, so it seems we have around siguro 60 to 70% for teachers and educators, and around 13% are allied mental health professionals, are psychologists maybe, or even nurses. Okay. Now, okay, based on the evaluation or the data we have gathered, these are the top 5 challenges and concerns na binigay ng ating mga participants as part of their evaluation. Now, number 1, this is again not in order, but ito yung top 5. So there's a lack of professional counselors or guidance counselors. There is this challenges or and concern on career progression. Another one is the stigmatization, misconception, and the lack of understanding of the counseling profession. Then, of course, we have ethical considerations, especially on confidentiality, self-care, and even malpractices. Okay, and of course, another big challenge and concern is the support of our educational leaders, for example, or even our policy makers, especially when it comes to facilities, budget, training, and others. Okay. So a little review. Okay. So last week we have discussed crash course guidance and counseling. Now let's have a review. So when we say guidance and counseling, this is a profession that involves the use of an integrated approach. Again, it's an integrated approach. Hindi lang siya one-dimensional, rather holistic. Okay, to the development of a well-functioning individual. Okay, if we can connect that with our mental health law, so well-functioning individual, so definitely mentally healthy, by primarily helping him or her to utilize his or her potentials to the fullest. Again, we look on the potentials so that our client can utilize it. And of course, aside from utilizing his or her potential to the fullest, it will be part of his or her plan for the future in accordance to his or her abilities, interests, and needs. So basically, that's the profession of guidance counseling. Now, guidance and counseling, it's very clear in Republic Act 9258, otherwise known as the Guidance and Counseling Act of 2004, that this profession includes the functions of, again, counseling. Klarong-klaro po na counseling is the main function of a guidance counselor. Then we have psychological testing, research, placement. Again, it's a part of the career, group process, then teaching and practicing of guidance and counseling subjects. Again, teaching guidance and counseling subjects. Okay. Now, if we go back to guidance and counseling, now sa ating pong kasamahan or mga yung ating sibling profession na psychology, actually as part of RA 10029, klaro din po sa kanila. It's very clear that only psychologists or licensed professionals when it comes to the practice of psychology can teach psychology subjects. Now, for counselors, the counselors must teach this guidance and counseling subjects and other human development services. Okay. Now, if you want to become a guidance counselor, of course, basic po or part ng law, Section 13 of RA 9258, na you should have a bachelor's degree in guidance and counseling or related subjects or related fields, and a master's degree in guidance and counseling. So dalawa po. Okay. And part of the scope of our examination for guidance and counseling is this one: philosophical, psychological, and sociological foundations of guidance, counseling theories, tools and techniques, psychological testing, organization and administration of guidance service, group process, program development, and career guidance. Okay, so this is the weight per subject when you take the licensure exam for guidance and counseling, which, however, for this year has been canceled indefinitely. So ito po yung board subjects ng guidance and counseling. Now, before we formally proceed with the discussion of becoming irrelevant, the issues and challenges of the guidance counselors, I would like to share to you three three persons who will talk their experiences of being in the guidance and counseling field. So please listen to Daryl, to Darius, and to Rochella. They have something in common. The two were before part of DepEd. One right now is currently in DepEd. Okay. Our two sharers are licensed counselors. The other one is currently trying to finish his master's degree. Okay. I would like to share to you their stories.
Kailan kaya pahahalagahan ng DepEd at ng ating gobyerno ang mental health and guidance and counseling sa bansang Pilipinas? Isang mapagpalang araw mga kapwa ko guidance. Ako nga pala si Daryl C. Correa, nagtapos ng Bachelor of Science in Psychology, major in Guidance and Counseling at Philippine Normal University, Manila. Kasalukuyan, I am pursuing my Master of Arts in Counseling at De La Salle University, Manila. Sino nga ba ako? Ako po si Sir Daryl. I'm working as a guidance advocate at the same time ESP teacher mula sa Division of Quezon City, Carlos P. Garcia High School, Cubao. Ako ay isang licensed professional teacher, registered psychometrician, and future registered guidance counselor. What's my inspiration of pursuing the guidance and counseling profession? So 2011 na experience ko yung OJT o yung practicum, both practice teaching and guidance and counseling practicum. So, elementary high school pa lang, gusto ko na rin talaga maging teacher. Yun talaga yung pangarap ko. Then, I was exposed to the guidance and counseling profession sa guidance office sa isang university sa Caloocan City. And na-realize ko na yes, madaming magagaling na teachers, napakarami sa Pilipinas. But, kulang ang guidance counselor sa bawat paaralan. That's the time na na-realize ko na isa-sacrifice ko muna yung pangarap ko na maging teacher kasi nakita ko yung need na kailangan ng guidance counselor sa buong Pilipinas. So may need, malaking need na kailangan when it comes to mental health and guidance and counseling profession. What are the challenges of a guidance and counseling advocate? Number 1, multiple roles. Many roles. Ang daming ibinibigay na trabaho sa'yo. Teacher ka na? Sa guidance office ka pa? Iba pa yung mga coordinatorship mo, no? Napakarami pang ibang task na binibigay sa'yo kasi mag-isa ka sa school. So, sino pa ba yung trusted na pwedeng malapitan sa school? Wala nang iba kundi ikaw. So, napakaraming kailangan gawin, napakaraming kailangan task na tapusin, paperworks, and all these things, lahat ng responsibilities mo. Kaya napakarami talagang task. So, multiple roles. Isa yan sa mga challenges. Number 2, limits. Kahit gusto mong tumulong, may limit siya kasi nga based from the RA 9258 ang batas natin, the Guidance and Counseling Act, only licensed counselors can practice counseling. So definitely kaming mga guidance advocates as of the moment, we cannot practice counseling. And syempre sumasang-ayon din naman tayo dyan as a mental health advocate. Kaya I'm excited to become an RGC para ma-practice ko na rin yung counseling. The number 3, judgments. Merong mga ibang mga RGC, RSI na nakakapanghusga sa mga guidance advocates na sino ba yung mga yan, hindi naman sila license, all those things na mga panghuhusga. Kaya pray for me para maging RGC na rin ako pagtagal-tagal. Maraming salamat. What keeps me going in the guidance and counseling profession? Number 1, my passion to help people and be of service. Masaya ako na nakakatulong ako sa kapwa ko tao. I'm happy na nakikita ko yung mga DepEd public school students, DepEd parents, DepEd teachers na nakasmile sila pag na-meet nila ako. And alam ko na kahit papano sa maliit na bagay, nakakatulong ako sa kanila for their human potentials. Panahon na ipaglaban ang guidance and counseling and mental health para sa bansang Pilipinas. DepEd tayo, kaya DepEd tayo.
Hello everyone, I am Rochella Pausanos Gamao, a guidance counselor.
Good day everyone. I am Darius E. Montanio from the University of Antique and I am a guidance counselor 3. I am going to share with you some of my experiences in the counseling profession. At first, I never really planned on becoming a guidance counselor. And I believe it is really God's plan for me. I got inspired to become a counselor because this profession enables me to help others to maximize their potential. And because we counselors advocate positive mental well-being. So, naniniwala po ako na in this way we are helping the society to achieve holistic development. However, as a young counselor, I have faced various challenges. Aside from, first, the very high expectations of the people around, one is career progression po. I find it ironic at times that we've been advocating career development for others. Nevertheless, we are being limited to achieve it due to lack of plantilla positions in the government office, such as guidance services specialists that will inspire us to do more and to do better. And as they say, you cannot give what you do not have. Nung nasa DepEd pa ako 3 years ago, I also found it difficult to attend seminars and workshops of PGCA because my expenses weren't shouldered by the school. Now, in this way, as a counselor, I felt I was deprived of professional advancement. This is one of the reasons why I transferred to an SUC. Now I am in UA. Another concern is the misconceptions about being a guidance counselor rather. Kasi po, more often than not, students would regard us as somebody who is too strict, a disciplinarian, like, parang you're the scariest person. But guidance counselors should be the most welcoming person, I believe. And right now, even as UCs, I'm also facing a lot of challenges. And one of our major concerns right now in the guidance office is the ratio, the counselor-student ratio. Okay, as a counselor, kasi dalawa lang po kami sa university, we've been catering to thousands of students, and others would think that counseling is a very easy task. Okay, we counselors at times, because tao lang po tayo, we experience compassion fatigue, and we get tired too. And since I am a counselor, and there is a need for me to nourish my psychological capital, I have to keep going, for the reason that this profession helps me a lot with the way I deal with my life, to stay positive, and to be resilient. And this profession is very impactful with the way I help myself, with my family, my friends, and my students as well, to become fully functioning individuals. Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Hello everyone, I am Richella Pausanos Gamao, a guidance counselor and a licensed teacher from Davao City. I am often asked what made me took up guidance and counseling. And there are two reasons why I became a guidance counselor. First, I grew up in an unhealthy family environment where there were a lot of fights, and I was deeply affected, and it changed my views in life. Second, I was bullied when I was in elementary and high school. I was extra small, and the kids find that very amusing. And so, when I was young, I was thinking that if only parents are trained how to become nurturing parents, no? And if only bullies are reprimanded and educated, then perhaps the world will be a better place for kids. So when I went to college, I planned to become a values teacher. Unfortunately, at that time, it was not available, and the only closely related course was guidance and counseling. And so I took the course, fell in love with it, and alas, I found my niche. I am also asked what are the challenges in my profession. Now, in my experience, the primary and perhaps the biggest challenge is the misconception attached to our profession. Guidance counselors are being associated to the work of the discipline in charge and the registrar, that often we are asked to do the discipline and the investigation and do the ranking and the sectioning. This misconception has been attached for so long that up to now, we are still in the unceasing process of reorienting the society of what our actual job is. And I hope we don't get tired of doing this, no, because it's part of the change that we want to happen. On the other hand, the misconception is so strong also that even us, counselors, know we get confused in the process of delivering our service because of the expectations set by our superiors. So the individual challenge is how to keep ourselves grounded and firm in adhering to the guidance and counseling law and to our ethical standards. Another challenge, and perhaps the most controversial, is the fact that there is little opportunity for promotion in our profession, and our salary is lower as compared to our qualifications. Because of this, few are motivated to take our course, no? And several counselors have decided to transfer in a teaching position, just like me. So, what keeps me going as a guidance counselor? Well, as I mentioned a while ago, I found my niche. Feeling ko parang I was born to do this job. Naksa. But honestly, I love my job and I am proud of it. And here's the thing, I found a bonus in my work. I consider my work as my ministry. I know I am contributing, no matter how little, now to the world. Alam ko sa isang araw na may natutulungan ako, I make a difference in their lives. And that keeps me going. That makes my life meaningful. In fact, right now, I'm in a teaching position, but at the same time, I'm a guidance counselor. So I could say I survived being a teacher because I'm still designated as a guidance counselor. And I am enjoying both worlds. And that makes me happy and that keeps me going. So, thank you for allowing me to share a little of my life. And I hope we enjoy the rest of the webinar. Okay? So, God bless you all.
So we would like to thank our sharers, Sir Darrell, Sir Darius, and Ma'am Rochella. So si Sir Darius po ay nasa DepEd QC. Si Sir Darrell pala nasa DepEd QC. Si Sir Darius is with University of Antique, and si Ma'am Rochella is with a private higher educational institution in Davao City. Thank you so much for your sharing regarding your experiences as a counselor and the challenges in the field. Okay. Now, as part of our review also, kanina ni sinabi ni Sir Darrell, very clear sa kanya since he is also taking his master's of in guidance and counseling. Hindi po siya makapag-do ng counseling. It's very important, again, that as a counselor, very important na ito, actually ito po yung heart ng guidance program natin. Ito yung talagang armas ng ating mga counselors. Now, if we try to review the counseling process, so again, hindi basta-basta mag-counseling. So, relationship building, so you have to earn the trust of the client. There should be an assessment. So for counselors, you do the psychological testing. For psychologists, they do the psychological assessment. Then, of course, you formulate the counseling goals. You provide intervention using different counseling techniques and theories and problem solving. Then you have to terminate. You end the counseling session and you do the follow-up in case. So counseling is not one shot. Usually it would go 3 or more sessions or 4 or more sessions, at least for a maximum of 1 hour. As kanina sinabi ni Sir Darius about compassion fatigue. And of course, very important for our counselors to have research and to evaluate. So this is from Cormier and Hackney. Now again, para sa ating mga partners na mga non-licensed counselors, if you want to really help, then we can provide the psychological first aid with the core action principles: look, listen, and link or refer. Of course, in counseling, again, we use techniques, just like, for example, your cognitive behavior therapy, your solution focused, or reality therapy. Okay. Now, we have to consider also, okay, the difference between the advice, the guidance, and counseling. Now, again, if we would advise, it's a one-way process. In counseling, however, it should be a two-way process. You explore the problems, you understand the problems, and you try to resolve or come to terms with the problems. And we use different theories or we use different techniques. And yung mga techniques po ito is kumbaga research-based and also ethical. And of course, if we say guidance, it's only a one-way exchange, showing the way, educating, influencing, instructing. Doon papasok for guidance counselors, dito papasok yung ating information service, or well, we share with our sibling profession, the psychology, the psychoeducation. Okay. Now, as we try to go to the meat of our discussion this morning, no? So who got number one? Bakit pa kailangan ang guidance and counseling? Kailangan ba talaga yung guidance and counseling? Okay. Now, remember, according to Section 9 of BP or Batas Pambansa 232, otherwise known as the Education Act of 1982, it is a right, again, it is a right of a student to avail guidance and services. Okay. Then, of course, even our Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 provides, in order to properly guide the students in choosing the career tracks that they intend to pursue, so the DepEd shall regularly conduct career advocacy activities for secondary level students. Okay, there is something we need also to discuss or to explore on this area, since when we talk about career, it should not only start at the grade 10. Rather, it should start as early as possible or even early as kinder. Okay? So, klaro po, even sa ating yung foundation ng ating K to 12, na kailangan talaga yung guidance and counseling. Okay? Klaro po 'yan. Now, of course, when we talk about Mental Health Act, so sa Mental Health Act, since we are doing counseling, we are doing psychoeducation, connected po ito sa Mental Health Act on their psychosocial na aspect. So, yung ating mga educational institutions actually has a role to promote mental health, provide basic support services. Again, basic support services, that is why psychosocial, for individuals at risk or already have mental health condition, and establish efficient linkages. So there should be a link with other agencies or other service providers. So if we have guidance counselors, for example, in DepEd, so sila po ito nakakaalam, or at least they have the idea on how to link. So kanina when I was playing the videos or the sharing, I came to the chat box, and ayun, there are some comments, regarding, for example, sa sinabi ni Daryl about there are some, but it's not the general. Since kasi pag it's general, so I mean from my end, for example, I should not have played that. And I think we have to consider that even in that simple comment, there's a cognitive distortion na naganap. Okay. Now, as part of the mental health, ayun, so in order to promote, to prevent the mental health concerns, all public and private educational institutions shall, again, underscore shall, since in legal parlance, shall is dapat gawin mo talaga compared to the may. Okay, may or may not. Okay, be required to have a complement of mental health professionals. Very striking yung first part or the first question na shinare ni Sir Darrell. Ang DepEd ba or ang government natin ay yan, tinututukan ba yung guidance and counseling? Since the guidance counselors are the frontliners, especially in the educational system. Now, another thing, the guidance counselor is also a mental health professional based on RA 11036, otherwise known as the Mental Health Act of 2018. So the guidance counselor can provide mental health services. Now, another thing, as a support of the RA 10533, we have right now RA 11206, otherwise known as the Secondary School Career Guidance and Counseling Act. So yung target nito, we have the National Secondary School Career Guidance and Counseling Program, we have CGCP centers, we have National Career Assessment Examination. But again, makikita natin na may problema or may concern talaga dito kasi especially the author of this law before when it was a bill, yung tinitingnan niya lang is para lang talaga sa secondary students or grade 7 and up. Paano naman yung mga grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3? Wala ba silang career na tinatanaw? So there is again from in this law, talagang makikita natin na kulang talaga yung appreciation even ng ating mga legislators. Until now, this RA 11206 ay hindi pa po na-implement since after 2 years, wala pa rin po itong implementing rules and regulations which ang nakasaad, si DepEd po ito yung may hawak. Okay. So, yun naman pala di ba? So we have legal basis. So last October, sabi ni Dr. Raul Alvarez, the regional director of the CHED Region 10. Actually, he's also a Negrense, a Hiligaynon speaking individual. So sabi niya, during the time of the mid-year convention of PGCA, sabi ni Dr. Alvarez, make your profession, or the guidance and counseling profession, attractive. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. How can we make the profession attractive? Okay. Let's see on the aspect of the public service. Now, in the public service, we have the currently CSC Memorandum Circular number 2 series of 2017. So ano po ito? This is the qualification standards ng ating mga guidance counselors, or kung gusto nyong pumasok as a guidance counselor in the public service, ito po yung qualification standards natin. So nakasaad sa MC number 2 series of 2017. Dati, we have the CSC Memorandum Circular number 16 of 2011, but personally I have asked the civil service to reconsider, and after checking it, after their deliberation, after 3 years, they have decided to amend the requirements in order to be congruent with RA 9258. Now, ano po yung nakasaad dito? Okay, so for example, pag pumasok ka, guidance counselor 1, 2, or guidance counselor 3, or you can be a guidance services associate, ito po yung iyong education requirement, experience, training, eligibility. Which means eligibility, dapat licensed counselor ka. So ito po ang ating qualification standards. Okay. You can check it sa ating Civil Service Commission website, Memorandum Circular number 2 series of 2017. So ito po. So we have a number of guidance counselor or guidance related items. Okay. Now, katanungan, saan po ba nakabase or ano po yung basis ng guidance counselor items? Okay. Ang basis po ng guidance counselor items ay mula sa DBM. Ang DBM meron silang tinatawag na index o tawag nila commonly IOS. It is the Index of Occupational Services. Okay, IOS. Parang it is a biblia of plantilla items. So kumbaga in the government service, for example, bawat plantilla item merong budget na kaalat po sa ganong item. So binabudgetan po yan ng government. Okay. So nakapaloob sa DBM IOS yung mga guidance items under siya sa education, library, museum, and archival service. So ito po yung nasa occupational service siya. Ang occupational group code niya, ito, within the Education, Library, Museum, and Archival Service. So merong group siya. Ito yung group niya. Ang isang group po ay GS or Guidance Services. So you have these items na isang grupo. Okay? So this is one of the groups. Okay. Pero there is another group kung saan nakapaloob ang another set of guidance counselor items. So ito po yung nasa school, college, and university teaching. And again, I would like to repeat, it's school, college, and university teaching. So makikita nyo dyan, naka-highlight, Guidance Counselor 1. So kasama ni Guidance Counselor dyan si Teacher 1, 2, 3. So kung makikita nyo dito, si Teacher ay may career progression. So either si teacher would go into master teacher or si teacher can go to head teacher. Okay? Same holds true with our SPED teacher. So they have their career path. Then we have the special science teachers. Okay? Now si guidance counselor, ito, guidance counselor 1. There is something wrong with my screen, I think. May naka-black. My apologies for that. So si Guidance Counselor 1, 2, 3. Then pwede siyang ma-promote into Guidance Coordinator 1, 2, and 3. After that, dead end na po siya. Okay? So this is already yung salary grade. This is +1 because there is a National Budget Circular or DBM Circular, I think way back in 2009. Okay? Now, kasama po sa grupo ni Guidance Counselor, yung mga teachers din po sa ating HEIs or SUCs, School, University, and Colleges. So ito po yung career path ng ating mga professors sa SUC. So you can start at instructor 1, 2, 3, then you can be an assistant professor, you can be an associate professor, then you can be in full professor, in professorial item, then you can be a full professor. So yun po, that's how things work when it comes to career progression, especially in the public sector. Now, ito to be, para hindi kayo malito, ito yung groupings natin. So we have 13 items, pero nasa dalawang grupo siya. What currently is the setup is most of our educational institutions, even in TESDA, even DepEd, and even most of our universities, I mean public state universities and colleges, ito po yung kanilang items. So, Guidance Counselor 1, 2, 3. Guidance Coordinator 1, 2, and 3. However, example with the case of UP or University of Makati or I think there are some schools in Mindanao, I mean SUCs. Now what we are um, subscribing na plantilla positions is this one, Guidance Services Specialist 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So kung makikita nyo, sobrang baba. Right now, example, kanina si Sir Darius, even though na ano siya sa university, pero yung item niya is only Guidance Coordinator 3, which is Guidance Counselor 3, which is equivalent to Instructor 2 position. But because hindi pero dead end na siya because hindi ka makakalukso or ma-promote into Guidance Coordinator 1 since you need 7 guidance counselors under you before na magiging Guidance Coordinator 1 ka. Okay. Now, another thing, another consideration. In 2007, nagpalabas po si DBM ng position classification and position classification plan, position compensation and classification plan. Okay. So nakapaloob doon sa chapter 6 yung teachers preparation pay schedule. Again, please take note, this is 2007. In 2004, RA 9258 was enacted into law. So kung makikita nyo, it seems na DBM at the time did not do the research. Since si Guidance Counselor 1, ganun pa rin. Okay, I'll move forward. Okay. So kung makikita nyo dito, si Guidance Counselor 1, SG10, 11, and 12, and yung preparation niya is only bachelor's plus 20 or either you're 20 years in service or you have a masteral degree. And example, pag guidance counselor 3 ka, it should be master's degree. However, again, in 2004 pa lang, nakasaad na po sa ating RA 9258 na yung minimum qualification ng ating counselors ay master's degree. So ito, by 2007, gumawa na talaga si DBM ng isang obsolete na policy. So this one, kung nakikita nyo. Now, ito yung academic preparation requisites. Again, this is the position classification and compensation plan ng ating DBM. Okay? So, the academic preparation, prerequisites ito po bago ka maging or ma-reclassify from Guidance Counselor 1, 2, and 3. Yung iba nga, I have known some counselors na for around 15 years, for around 10 years, Guidance Counselor 1 pa rin. Since hindi siya ma-reclassify. Ang issue dyan is walang budget for the reclassification of counselors. Since counselors, kahit ito, nakapaloob siya bilang isang teacher. Pero it seems na si guidance counselor ay tinitreat as non-teaching personnel. So alin ba talaga sa dalawa? If you go back to the Magna Carta for public school teachers, si guidance counselor ay nakapaloob doon as a teacher. Pero syempre, with the recent, for example, there is this DepEd document na nung inilabas yung chalk allowance. Okay? Even though nandun sa Magna Carta si guidance counselor as a teacher, pero syempre wala siyang teaching load. So hindi siya makakatanggap niyan. Okay? So, if we look sa PCP manual ng ating DBM, ito po yung nangyayari or makikita nyo. So, kung nakita nyo, bachelor's degree lang si guidance counselor. So, hindi akma sa law. Okay? So, if we look on the 1997 DBM Manual of Organization and Staffing Standards for DEX, again, dati pa it's DEX. No? There should be one guidance coordinator to guidance counselors. So you could not have a guidance coordinator item if you don't have 7 counselors. Yun nga yung problema eh. Wala na nga tayong guidance counselors, hahanap ka pa ng 7 so that ma-promote ka. Okay? So that's how things work. Okay? And ito po, this is a screenshot of a very hindi na siya akma sa ating panahon. No? This is again 1997. And ilang years na ba? Around more than 20 years. More than 20 years yung ginagamit ng ating government or ng DepEd, ni CHED, ni TESDA, and even ni DBM. Ganun pa rin. Yung dati pa, 1997 pa. Okay? So, for those who are with us na mga maybe legislative staff ng ating mga legislators, you have to try to look on this. It's again 1997 document, and this is still what is our government agencies are subscribing to. Okay? Now, thank you for this business. Kinuha ko po ito sa Business Mirror. So ito po yung sa kanilang isang article with kasi they're looking, our government agencies are also looking to provide a competitive or a better career for our teachers. So in DepEd, dito yung sa DepEd, nasa left, and yung sa right, yung ating mga nasa SUCs. This is a comparison for teachers. So just imagine, so si teacher 1, 2, and 3, dati, either maging master teacher siya or magiging head teacher siya. So ngayon, yung proposal ng ating Department of Education, based on the Business Mirror na article, approved daw. Okay? So meron ng teacher 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So makita nyo, pag nasa classroom lang si teacher, ito na daw. Okay? Then there should be a proposed master teacher 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So kung nakikita nyo, there is a career progression here. Same holds true also with yung sa ating higher educational institution. So klaro po na they have career progression. Now, ibabangga natin dito si guidance counselor. Okay. So kung makikita nyo, ito po yung career progression ni guidance counselor. And you have also to consider yung kanyang minimum qualification. So, even though na si guidance counselor ay master's degree compared to teacher 1, so SG11 lang siya, SG12 or SG13, then that's for life. Okay. Now, balik tayo ng kaunti. Dito sa higher educational institutions, yung entry level na instructor 1 ay, yes, master's degree din po. Pero kung makikita nyo, kahit mag-start siya ng instructor 1, talagang lulobo siya. At least currently, based sa pag-uusap ko sa aking mga kakilala sa SUC, the maximum na makuha mo is the 5 steps na jump because of your NBC, because of your points. So may career progression talaga. But for guidance counselors, naku, either nasa SG11 lang siya. Yung iba yun nga, 10 years, 15 years in service, pero hanggang ngayon SG11 pa rin dahil hindi or walang budget daw for reclassification. Okay. Now, for counselors and even for us in the PGCA, this is what we are proposing at the least. We don't need other things. we don't want to make the process longer. Okay, this is the most practical that we can propose for now, and we think this is the more viable. So if you can see, Guidance Services Specialist 1 is SG16. Kung makikita natin dito, even si Teacher 6 here is not a master's degree graduate, but rather si Master Teacher 1, especially with our senior high school sa DepEd. So before you can be a Master Teacher 1, you need to have master's degree. Pero sa junior high, iba po yung dati, or even until now, iba yung situation. Hindi talaga kailangan ng full master's degree. Okay. So maybe we can settle here. Okay. SG16, then 18, then 20. Maybe 22 or 24, bahala sila, or it's up for the next set of our policymakers if we can reach this or not. But of course, siguro the most viable target is we can have SG1, GSS 1, 2, and 3 for now. So kung makikita natin, if ibabangga natin si GSS 1, 2 and 3, so dito siya sa Assistant Professor 4 or Assistant Professor 2 and Associate Professor 2. Okay, so makita nyo, at least at par siya when it comes to career progression and career development. And remember, yung qualification po ng ating counselors should be a holder of bachelor's degree in guidance and counseling or in other allied disciplines, and a master's degree in guidance and counseling. So, yun nga, sabi ng mga matataas na opisyal, pero hindi naman lahat. There are one or two yung pino-point out talaga, kulang nga yung guidance counselor sa schools. Wala ngang supply ng guidance counselor. So, ang tanong dyan sa ating sa ilan, or very few na policy makers in our education system, or even siguro sa ating mga legislators, kasi ito din yung mga policy makers natin sa national government agencies, ito din yung finifeed nila sa ating mga legislators. Kulang nga yung supply ng counselors. Ang katanungan dyan is, how can we make, sabi nga ni R.D. Alvarez, how can we make the profession attractive if hanggang SG13 for life ka lamang? That's a big question for our legislators. That's a big question for our educational leaders. Now, this one. So, is this an attractive one? Is this an attractive picture of guidance and counseling in the Philippines? You need to take a bachelor's degree. You will take master's degree. You will take the licensure. Then you can pumasok ka ng guidance counselor 1. Then DepEd mo, guidance counselor 3 for life. Now, let's try to compare ourselves with our sibling profession, the psychologists. If the psychologists practicing their craft in the public service, actually, si psychologists, dead-end din. They have master's degree. Pero, same with guidance counselor 1, they start at guidance psychologist 1 at SG11. Then, psychologist 2 at SG15. And psychologist 3 at SG18. And that's the dead end para sa kanilang career path. Si counselor, talagang SG13 for life na yan. Wala ka nang mapupuntahan unless you try to go into teaching, which marami sa ating mga counselors in DepEd, for example, or even in the SUCs, nag-instructor position. Kasi every 3 years or there is a number of years na after this time dapat ma-promote ka talaga, or there is this calibration of points. But in DepEd, for example, in the basic education, talagang maninigas ka. Kasi hanggang SG13 ka lamang. Or if you want, you can apply to a higher position na hindi naman, or kumbaga, hindi guidance and counseling yung pinapractice mo, or maybe part of it also. And we would like also to syempre, there are some educational leaders naman in our division offices and our regional offices na they are sympathetic for our guidance counselors kasi nakikita din nila yung need as a role. And even sa ating ibang principals, there are actually some principals who are very supportive and they're very compassionate with their counselors. Na, okay, sige, you go as master teacher and then I will just deload you. And you need practice kasi syempre, how can you make the profession attractive with this kind of picture in the Philippine public basic education system? Yes, there is this comment. Let's make the GC profession first attractive so that we will become attractive. Okay, yes. And how can we make ourselves attractive? Okay. So, ito yung sabi ng isang tao, si U6. Kaya naman pala na hindi siya attractive because ganun pala yung system. So sabi ni U6, kahit tataasan natin yan, do you have the supply? Katanungan niya. I forgot the question mark there. So do you have the supply? You only have 4,000. Sabi ni U6. Yeah. Because in 2016, may create si DBM at si DepEd na 3,454 guidance counselor 2 items, which we do believe until now, most of it ay hindi pa na-filled in. Aside from this 3,454 guidance counselor 2 items, meron pang existing before na mga guidance counselor items. Maybe siguro around 5,000. Yeah. So remember, SG12. Now, what we are proposing is, sige, pwede nating gamitin yung 3,000 items. We convert into guidance services specialists. Okay. So, we can use some of it. Hindi naman mauubos yung budget. So that's a proposal which until now, for ilang years na proposal, hindi pa rin ina-actionan ni DBM. Kasi from the end of the DepEd, DepEd is already saying na we are working on it. But then, if walang approval si DBM, nga pa rin yung ating mga counselors. Yun nga eh. Sir, ang root cause po ng problema ay ang sistemang hindi na akma sa panahon. It's not the supply. Question, how can we make, paano natin maparami yung guidance counselors? I have a conversation with one of fellow teachers I think it was in Region 8. Sabi niya, Sir, alam mo ba, even though I'm a master's degree graduate in guidance and counseling, I never took the board exam. Nagulat ako. Tinanong ko siya, bakit hindi ka kumuha ng board exam? Sabi niya, Sir, somehow I'm good. I'm okay na po kasi ngayon, master teacher na po ako. Kasi kung kumuha ako ng licensure exam sa guidance and counseling, yun, hanggang SG13 for life lang po ako, hindi na ako mapropromote. ngayon, with guidance and counseling. Now, if we look again sa issues and concerns natin and even sa sharing ng ating mga sharers, yung mga dual roles ng ating counselors. Teacher ka, counselor ka pa. Which, if we go back to our ethical standards, if we look on the dual relationship, syempre, pasok doon. There is an ethical consideration we have to consider. So, yun, we have an obsolete and attractive career progression system for the counselors. Same holds true with the higher education, even in SUCs. Yun lang nga, you have to deal individually with every SUC. So there are some counselors that nag-reach out sa akin, sir, paano daw how would they convince their institution? Sabi ko, you have to bring it sa table with of course with the head of office. UP is before pinaglaban din ng taga UP to have their guidance services specialist items. So it's possible din sa ating mga SUCs that we have to put it into table. Siguro it's very important that yung ating mga kasamahan in the higher education institutions can have their own group din po so that matutukan. Yes, isang comment, yung isa ko namang classmate after becoming RGC, lumipat naman sa teaching position. Correct po yun. Both even in DepEd and in the state universities and colleges. And of course, as this is the phenomenon na nakikita natin. So sabi ni U6, napakataas kasi ng qualification standards nyo. Ang taas-taas. Bakit hindi yan i-lower down? Sabi ni U6. So remember, guidance and counseling is primarily a regulated profession. As we have discussed last time, when we say regulated profession, this is a profession or it was made or it was professionalized because of the experiences dati na nagiging maraming malpractices. Just like for example, you go to a quack doctor and you go to a doctor. So for example, nagkamali ang doctor, syempre may accountability si doctor because of the license ng doctor. Eh ngayon, pumunta kay quack doctor, what would be the accountability of the quack doctor? Okay? So, ayan, there's naging regulated profession siya because of the accountability and for the protection of the general public. Again, inuulit ko yung profession. It was a ginawa itong regulated profession. Now, guidance and counseling requires adequate preparation kasi hindi mo makikita yung example, psycho-emotional wound. So, how would you deal with it if you don't have an adequate preparation? Look at our lawyers, at our medical doctors, look at our psychologists. Okay? So, we have an adequate preparation. Hindi basta-basta. And there is a continuous training. Look at our medical doctors. Look at our lawyers. They have their MCLE. The same also with the psychologists and counselors. Continuous yung training. And this is backed up with research-based and ethical use of counseling techniques and skills. Now, another thing, if we will lower down the qualification standards ng counselor, it would go against with RA 10968, otherwise known as the Philippine Qualifications Framework. Now, sa Philippine Qualifications Framework, may levels po tayo. We have 8 levels. Now, if you are a guidance counselor here, since you have a master's degree, you are in level 7. Kung baga, if you want to apply, eventually, they will look, anong level ka? Okay. So yun. That's the PQF. Now, if we go internationally, so example, if we will harmonize, example natin New Zealand. I think New Zealand has 10 qualification levels. So, yung level 7 natin dito na master's degree can be, sa kanila, they can assess it maybe at level 8 or maybe level 9. So, kumbaga, you are at par because there's a qualification framework. Now, with the current setup ng guidance and counseling, sa guidance counselors na minimum qualification is a master's degree. And even with our sibling profession, psychology, we are at par with our international counterparts as counselors. So if you go to US, basically yung minimum qualification nila, dapat yung training and preparation should be master's degree. Same also with Australia or even in New Zealand. So basic. So what's the point of lowering it? Is it with their planning, or they need to research on this? Yeah. So in order to attract or yung sabi ni U6, napakataas kasi wala kulang yung supply nyo, kulang kayo. So how can we attract? Basically, go back tayo sa pinaka viable. Why can't we just reclassify the unfilled items by using crash and build into guidance services specialists? Yun yung kwento ni Ma'am Nagstay lang siya as a master teacher kasi syempre pag nagkumuha siya ng board exam sa guidance, wala namang hindi naman kumbaga wala naman siyang return of investment. Just imagine, you will be stuck at SG13 for life. Pero pag lumipat ka, yun nga sabi ni Sir Daryl kanina, love natin yung institution. So we are trying to let the institution see that there is a problem so that we can improve. So personally, actually, since 2016, using official channels, I have personally raised these issues and concern even sa Office of the President, even with the DVM, and even with the Civil Service Commission. But the buck stops with the DVM until now. So DVM left the group. Who got number 5? Our counselors in the private schools are somehow suffering the same fate. Yes. Baka you will notice, bakit yung dinidiscuss ni Francis ay sa public lang. Again, hindi lang yung public yung tinitingnan natin dito, but also private schools. Our counselors are also suffering the same fate. Sabi nga ng isang counselor na nakausap, sabi niya, that's also another aspect, sir. As a small school, there is a limited career progression. So sa kanila pala, they don't have vertical or horizontal scaling or levels. So sabi niya, when you are a counselor in a private school, so the next level is to become a coordinator or the head of office. So ganun, that's it. So benefits, sabi niya, personally, our school is very generous naman in giving us allowances. So for the salary, we're the same as teachers. Additional compensation for graduate or units, graduate degree or units. So yun yung nangyayari din sa ating private schools. So few days ago, yun nga, may narinig ako na kwento na there are some counselors actually na hindi na pinapa-report sa kanilang schools. I mean sa private school too kasi yan, pinofocus ngayon yung teachers. Okay? So hindi sila pinapa-report. Which means, masakit. They might Kumbaga, the adverse effect there is wala silang sahod. So, what will happen to them? So, anong goal natin? Anong goal natin ngayon? How to increase the number of guidance counselors in the Philippines? So, hindi po nangangailangan to lower the qualification standards because we are at par. It's an international standard. And also, yung ating mga kasamahan sa private sector, you have to understand that there is an untapped potential in the public sector. Kasi pag gumalaw si public sector, it will generate a dot and hoping to attract more counselors in the future. And of course, there are some talaga na, well, I don't know if nagpapa-epal sila. Sabi, ano mangyayari sa amin sa private schools? Ano naman yung sa private? So, yeah, they're just whining without offering any solution. So, yan, sir, palagi na lang na public. Ano na mangyayari sa amin sa private? Okay? Again, the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, as a part of our position paper, which nandyan po sa ating PGCA official, we have already posted that position, the first position paper last year, yung October. So, part of our recommendation for proper authorities to implement the transition plan and periodically review the career progression session plans of guidance counselors in public and private sectors. Okay? So you have to consider again, we have an untapped potential in the public sector. That's why tinututukan natin ito na matap. Okay? So that we can attract more counselors. Pero kasabay yan is hindi natin nalilimutan yung concern ng ating mga kasamahan na guidance counselors sa private sector. Okay. I hope it's clear, especially those who are with us, na counselors in the private schools or in private HEIs. Yun nga with may mga comments dito kanina. So, passion mo naman kasi so manigas ka, or I mean, okay, sige, you have to be counselor kasi passion mo yan. So, hugot number 7, push lang ng push. Pero nasaan kayong support? Okay. Let's try to look on some things. In positive psychology, yun nga using positive psychology in education. So there should be a balance of well-being and achievement. Pero yung nangyayari sa ating educational or sa education sector is focus lang tayo lahat on the achievement, on the learning, on the cognitive skills. Yun nga, nung lumabas ang PISA results, more na lang on the non-readers, sa math, sa sciences. Pero I don't know, but personally, I was not able to hear someone discussing the PISA results na they presented on the bullying aspect, or even 2/3 of our learners pala have fixed mindsets, and only 1/3 of our learners have growth mindsets. Just imagine, fixed mindset. Example, kasi you are poor, so hanggang dyan ka na lamang. Fixed mindset. So wag na akong mag-effort kasi ganito lang ako, galing ako sa mahirap na pamilya. So be it. Yan, that's a fixed mindset. But for a growth mindset, okay, I'll use this poverty as my jumping board to reach higher or greater heights. It's growth mindset. And of course, again, going back here sa positive psychology, in our curriculum, or even in our curriculum, there should be a balance of achievement and well-being. So tanong dyan, are we also discussing, or is it part of our curriculum to develop socio-emotional skills? Is it tangible talaga, makikita? Do we hone the character strengths of our students? Do we hone also their non-cognitive skills? So there should be a balance. No? Bakit we have discussed the balance? Okay? Kasi, for example, there are other issues. No? Guidance Office, sa basic education in DepEd, we have the 2010 education facilities manual. Klaro po doon, I think it's either it's page 90 or page 91. Klaro po doon na dapat every school merong guidance office. Okay. But for some, especially those na may guidance counselors, yung ibang guidance counselor nga, sabi nila, there's this guidance counselor, sir, yung guidance office ko, ano lang sir table. Then within that room, may table ako, then may cortina lang as a divider. So how can you, for example, when you go into counseling, you're a counselor, how can you let your client trust you if nakapalibot may mga tao, kung ano yung i-open up niya, maririnig. Okay? So you have to consider guidance office, guidance supplies. Well, yeah, we have to prioritize this one. Okay? We have to prioritize some things. Sige, guidance naman yan eh. I know we can survive. Then of course, how can you provide counseling and how can you provide suggestion or part of your research? For example, if you don't have testing materials, and what we are telling here is yung psychological testing, measuring the either personality, the attitude, the aptitude, yung interests, okay, or yeah, you have to invest. And well, see, our educational institution should invest in testing materials. Again, it's psychological testing materials. And budget. Mahirap talaga gumalaw pag wala kang budget. And the scenario, especially in DepEd, is of course, you cannot have a budget or hindi ka mababudgetan if yung area mo hindi naman priority ng school improvement plan. So if you have 3 there, or 2 or 1, and the guidance or mental health well-being of our students ay hindi naman priority ng school, then paano ka magkaka-budget? Okay? So time for student activities. Syempre, unahin kasi dapat ang contact time. And I think it's DO9. Dapat hindi yung contact time ng teacher sa bata dapat hindi siya talaga madi-disrupt. Now, question is, balik tayo on the achievement and well-being. In order to flourish, there should be a balance. Right now, ano ba yung trust natin sa education? Are we building educational or intellectual monsters, or are we trying to form a holistic and well-balanced individual? So kasi parang most of the time puro lang dapat klase. So how about for other student activities? Okay. Other roles, ayan, dual roles. Yung iba nga, before, there's a report na RGC, nagiging registrar. Another thing, sa kay guidance counselor pa yung certificate of good moral character. I mean, as a counselor, how can you measure, for example, can you issue na sinasabi mo good moral ba ito? Okay. Of good moral character, I think it's another thing that we have to consider kasi it has been a practice na yung nag-i-issue ng good moral certificate is the guidance counselor. I think we need to consider that also. We need to review if it's really the role of a guidance counselor. And of course, the appreciation of role. Ano ba si guidance counselor? Kasi guidance lang yan. Pag may problema, guidance agad. Pag walang problema, walang papel si guidance, bahala ka or manigas ka. And so on and so forth. So very important sana na, We appreciate school heads na when it comes to decision making, aside from his or her trusted teachers, he would or she would call the guidance counselor for his or her suggestion or kanyang idea. So we would recognize those educational leaders na yung ganun yung kanilang stand. So we laud you. So kulang na nga ng suporta, may karagdagang dagok pa. And the next slides would be very controversial in a sense. Now, remember, the guidance counselor is also a career specialist. Of course, yung partners natin, we have in career guidance, we have the career guidance network ng DOLE, ng Department of Labor and Employment. And yung mga taga-DOLE, gumawa sila ng grupo. Ito yung GCNet. It's composed of guidance counselors and guidance or career advocates. We are in partnership with PESO. So nag-uusap talaga yan. Based on my experience, no? Si PESO, si DOLE, so hindi naman makagalaw si PESO without the blessing OLE. Because syempre si PESO ay nasa LGU, Local Government Unit. It is the extension arm of the Department of Labor and Employment sa devolved na local government units. Yeah. Now, if titingnan natin yung RA, let me see, I have a problem with my screen. RA 8759, otherwise known as the PESO Act of 1999, as amended by RA 10691. This is the amended PESO law. Ano po yung roles? Ano po yung functions ni PESO? Just take note. Sa 8 function ni PESO, please take note of the 4. So ito, yung number 2. Develop and administer testing and evaluation instruments for effective job selection, training, and counseling. So, gawain ni PESO. Okay. Number 4, the 4th function, undertake employability enhancement trainings or seminars for job seekers as well as those who would like to change career or enhance their employability. So, gawain daw yan ni PESO based sa law. Provide employment or occupational counseling, career guidance, mass motivation, and values development activities. Then, conduct pre-employment counseling. Ayan, nagka-counseling na pala si PESO. And orientation to prospective local and most especially overseas workers. So please take note. Si PESO pala nagka-counseling? What's your stand, counselors? Now, since PESO is with the government or sa local government units natin, last year, nagpalabas si Civil Service ng Memorandum Circular number 20, series of 2019. Qualification standards for Public Employment Service Office or PESO positions in the LGUs. So, since there is a PESO office, your PES office or the PESO in the LGU, so dapat may human resource siya na complement. So ano mga positions niya? So please take note. Ano mga posisyon and qualification standards ng PESO officials natin? Just imagine ito. G20, 26, 26, 25. This is already directorial level. 26 is schools division superintendent na. This is professorial level. Pero yung kailangan lang pala para maging PESO manager ka ay bachelor's degree. Pero hindi naman siya akma or aligned sa guidance and counseling. But please take note, 4 out of 8 functions ni PESO ay already encroaching the practice of guidance and counseling. Ano pa po ang other positions? for peso. Tingnan nyo, Chief and Labor Employment Officer. 24, master's degree, pero hindi in counseling. Pero 50% yung ginagawa mo is guidance and counseling. Anong mangyayari dito? So we have the City Government Assistant Head, SG23, Municipal Government Assistant Department Head, SG23, SG22. Samantala, sa DepEd, for example, si Guidance Counselor, SG11, SG13 for life. Same with our SUCs. Pero ito sa mga munisipyo, sa ating mga LGU, ito po. Pero si Civil Service Commission, siguro, I don't know, they should have consulted the professional organizations. Personally, I have sent last November a letter addressed to the civil service to look on this memorandum circular number 20. I hope it would not take another for them, for the Civil Service Commission, to take action on this one. Even though sa lower positions. Now, ito yung wala talagang guidance counselor dyan. Now, another dagok. I would like to share to you another law, RA 10354, or the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. Okay. So Section 15, Certificate of Compliance. No marriage license shall be issued by the local civil registrar unless the applicants present a certificate of compliance issued for free by the local family planning office certified that they had duly received adequate instructions and information. Again, very clear po ang law. Adequate instructions and information on responsible parenthood, family planning, breastfeeding, and infant nutrition. However, ito si DSWD, dati may previous siya na memorandum circular, but they amended it. So they are now accrediting pre-marriage counselors. With us right now in our Zoom, nandito po yung ating mga PR board members ng Guidance and Counseling. I hope for those na mga psychologists, baka may mga psychologists dito, you have to tell your, communicate also with your PRB. Mga counselors din po sila. That ito, si DSWD, they have guidelines on the accreditation of pre-marriage counselors. Wow, there's a pre-marriage counselors. Yung alam kong marriage counselor dito, family and marriage counselor, si Father RC and si Father Ted. Now, let's try to look on this memorandum circular, how they would define pre-marriage counseling. Okay? Please take note, sa last part po, the session provides assistance and guidance to the contracting parties towards an informed decision about their forthcoming married life. Again, informed decision. So magka-counseling ka so that they can reach this informed decision. And who is this accredited pre-marriage counselor? Again, recognized professional. How can you say that one is a recognized professional? It seems from my understanding, this memorandum circular is undermining the authority of the Professional Regulation Commission. Kasi the PRC has the power to professionalize a practice. So, is this part of the practice or is this part of the power of the SWD to give or to recognize a professional to conduct pre-marriage counseling sessions? So please take note of those two. Informed decisions, so they will provide assistance and guidance. They will do counseling. And they can recognize actually. Okay? So ganun po. Now, please take note, balik tayo sa definition ng guidance and counseling. Guidance and counseling is a profession that involves the use of an integrated approach for the development of a well-functioning individual by helping him or her to utilize his potentials to the fullest and plan his or her future in accordance with his or her abilities, interests, and needs. Let's take note, a mere memorandum circular, informed decision about their forthcoming married life. It seems na nag-issue si DSWD ng memorandum circular but undermining or directly contradicting a higher statute which is a law. Okay? Now, ano daw yung qualifications ng pre-marriage counselors natin? Nakasaad din po sa kanilang memorandum circular. So must have a bachelor's degree in social work or any behavioral and social sciences course, BS in psychology, BS in guidance counseling, and so on and so forth. Just imagine if ang PRB natin from psychology, are they amenable that for example a psychometrician or hindi nga nakapasa pa ng word exam sa psychometrician can be a counselor? Since yan, very basic lang, BS in psychology. Okay? And right now, we don't have naman BS in guidance and counseling. Very few siguro yung very few ang schools na nag-offer ng bachelor's degree when it comes to guidance and counseling. Must attend at least 24 hours basic training. Ayan. So, yun lang po yung kailangan. Pwede ka na maging pre-marriage counselor. So, shortcut. Now, sabi ni DSWD sa kanilang Memorandum Circular number 1, series of 2019 on the amended guidelines. Yung legal basis nila daw is ito, the Civil Code Revision Committee sa UP Law Center in its letter dated September 23, 1988 to the NSO before that the DSWD is the proper agency to accredit marriage counselor. Correct. Okay. Pero it was 1998. So we have the PRC, we have RA 9258, we have RA 11029. Okay? So, an older law. Or granting, for the sake of argument, how can we marry or tatahiin natin yung mga batas na yon? So, first question. Okay, granting. Sige kayo na. Kayo yung government agency na nag-accredit ng marriage counselors. Okay. Question is, do we have positions in the SWD or we have guidance counselors in the SWD? Do we have counselors in the SWD? Okay. Secondly, did the SWD coordinated nor consulted the professional organization, PGCA or PAP? Okay, when it comes to the accreditation of marriage counselors, parang okay, sige, marriage counseling amin yun eh. But are they reading the law? Are they respecting the counseling profession ng counselors and even the psychologists? Because ito po sila yung can do counseling. Yeah. Those are big questions we have to ask them. Now, since we're talking DSWD and DSWD is mainly composed of our allied profession, social work. But before that, ito pala yung kanilang assessment tool. Just take a look for our counselors. Just take a look po sa ating mga counselors ang tool para maging isang marriage counselor ka. So example, ito, pag outstanding ka, counselor is able to observe, respond, and address the verbal and non-verbal cues, gestures, postures demonstrated by counselors. Talagang counseling na counseling to. How about sa ating mga psychologists? Are you amenable with this one? Counselor is able to gently lead the conversation into directions that gives useful information. Okay. So there's a very thin line, but you have to look. It's listening. Leading. Marami pa pong other points. You can again search for this document sa ating pong internet. Okay. Now, since we're talking DSWD, we have to look also sa ating mga kasamahan when it comes to social work. Based po sa kanilang law in 1965 or 1963, according to RA 4373, Social Work Act, so a social work is a profession, so it is a regulated profession, primarily concerned with organized social service activity. Okay. So, ang social worker dito, aim niya is to concerned with organized social service activity. Okay, so to facilitate and strengthen basic relationships, mutual adjustment between individuals and their social environment for the good of the individual and the society of social work methods. Now, we have to take look on this since based on my research, hindi ko pa nakita yung implementing rules and regulations ng RA 4373 or the Social Work Act. So it seems hindi ko pa nakita sa aking research or I never found an IRR of this law. Okay. On the other hand, ito po naman yung guidance and counseling. So siguro for those who are watching, you try to we try to look on this one. Yun nga for those na maybe yung iba yung tinitingnan or yung iba yung iniisip right now, actually I am presenting this one so that our helping professionals can look also into this and can bridge the different professions. Okay, so the aim here is a mutual respect. Now, for example, when there is a case management, ito po, pag case management siya, especially in the community, ibigay natin po yan sa ating mga social worker. You don't need to go there, for example, home visitation. Kasi dapat si social worker yon kasi it's part of their group work and community organization to empower. Yun po yung strengths ng ating social workers. Ang strengths naman ng ating guidance counselors is to do the counseling and career guidance. Ang strength naman ng ating psychologist is more of diagnosis and counseling also. So we respect our diversity. Yun po yung aim here, that there are certain individuals or there are certain institutions that are trying to undermine professions in favor of another. So I am presenting this to you, to our dear participants, so that you will understand na may ganito palang nangyayari. So it's a challenge for our legislators, again, to work this out sa ating mga kasamahan na social workers. Siguro as part of the PGCA, we are also reaching out sa ating mga kapitbahay sa PSSC, sa PAS. Because ito, yung resolution nga ng PASWI, they have quoted that in strengthening the Bureau of Corrections, yun po sa ating mga persons deprived of liberty. Actually, I have met colleagues po na either nasa Bucor or na nasa BJMP. Actually, we have guidance counselors in the Bucor and in the BJMP. So they are doing their best to apply the guidance and counseling po doon. So ang katanungan ng dyan kasi iba yung parang sa military din or kasi it's a law enforcement agency. So they would take in these professionals pero ang item iba. Okay. So what is alarming here, or maybe some sort of point of clarification or point of discussion for the allied professionals is this one. A big question for some, I don't know for some if they, yun po, I mean, from the end of counselors, some of us might question, are social workers allowed to do counseling? Okay, from our social workers po, yes, of course, iba din po yung training nyo. So siguro, we can have a point of clarification here. Sino pa talaga yung makakagawa ng counseling? Is it the counselor? Is it the psychologist? Or is it even the social worker? Siguro we start from there. Okay. And it's a good point kung saan simula natin yung cooperation and mutual respect. Okay. So, from here, COVADES, where are we going, guidance counselors? Right now, we have to consider na we have to continue the advocacy. This is a screenshot from the Philippine News Agency, wherein even in my home province, our local chief executive is trying to grasp the whole idea of counseling. Kasi magka-counseling daw yung mga tao sa teen centers. And these teen centers don't have counselors. Only few teen centers have counselors. So how can you provide counseling? And remember, in the provision of the mental health and psychosocial supports, isa lang po ang counseling sa maraming activities na pwedeng ibigay. So kumbaga, yung approach natin dito is community-driven approach, whole systems approach. So we continue the advocacy so that for the recognition of our profession. Of course, this one. Right now, we have the Senate Bill 1565, Education in the New Normal Act by Senator Win Gatchalian. Section 14 of that proposed bill, sabi dito, mental health and psychosocial support. The mental health of learners and their psychosocial needs shall be addressed as part of the new normal of education. That's a very good idea. However, ito po yung caveat. In the absence of guidance counselors, the teachers should be provided with basic training to identify age-related behavioral and cognitive changes and provide appropriate measures to immediately deal with the situation. So schools shall also develop and integrate age-specific counseling sessions within the required class hours. So who will conduct counseling? Teachers? Using only a basic training? Now, this is a challenge also for us, continuing the advocacy, trying to advocate and to educate our lawmakers, even though they are lawmakers, or even the researchers. So just imagine the premise, the logic here, in the absence of guidance counselors. Ilang taon na po na kulang yung guidance counselors natin, yet yung karugtong nito is only a band-aid solution. Hindi ina-address yung root cause on the absence of guidance counselors. What kind of leadership is this? In the absence of guidance counselors. Okay, sige, band-aid solution. Teachers yung gagawa. And again, para sa ating mga kapwa-guro, very heavy po if you do the counseling. If you don't have adequate preparation, hindi mo makikita yung wounds. That is why counseling, guidance and counseling requires adequate preparation, continuous training. Basic training lang. Then, sige, go ka na. Go ka na into battlefield. So, very alarming this kind of situation, this kind of thinking ng ating mga lawmakers. But of course, there are some lawmakers na who may have this kind of thinking, but there are also other lawmakers who appreciates the value of guidance counselors. And we need to championing through legislation. For example, right now in the House of Representatives, there are two bills naka-file po wherein to strengthen the practice of counseling in the public sector so that we can attract more counselors. Again, I would like to repeat, yung ating mga kasamahan sa private schools, you are part of this. We will see to it na the private sector hindi gaano maapektuhan. What we are doing this, or why we are doing this, is order for us to reach the goal na maparami yung guidance counselors sa Pilipinas. So we need to champion and for our counselors and for our guidance advocates. Let's try to talk um, uh, few weeks from now or a month from now, babalik yung ating mga legislators sa Congress, or even until now they're doing their legislative work. Let's try to ask them, let's reach them to sponsor these two bills. House Bill 6154 and by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez of Cagayan de Oro, and House Bill 6264 of Representative Irene Gay Saulog of Kalinga Party List. These are champions. These are our champions in the House of Representatives. And we are trying to reach yung ating mga senators din who would like to champion the cause of guidance counselors. Kasi the first place, it's a profession that would help our children. It would help the mental health of our employees and our learners, and of course, their career guidance. So we champion through legislation. So with that, I end my presentation this morning. If you have questions, please feel free to chat right now with our live chat sa YouTube, and I will try to answer your questions. So with that, thank you and good morning, and I am ready for your questions. So let me see first the chat. Okay. Yes, we need to inform. We need to continuously advocate or educate yung ating mga educational leaders and even our government officials regarding the practice of guidance and counseling law, and even yung mental health. Okay. Question, how can this be applied in the context of public schools while we are waiting for the legislation? For now, siguro from the aspect of DepEd and for SUCs, we try po to maximize yung ating counselors. For example, sa DepEd, since ang counselors natin ay nasa school level, hindi sila makaparticipate on on the higher governance level, and they can input their point of views. So very important din na actually we have suggested po sa DepEd na they need to maximize their counselors by positioning them to the schools division offices and to the regional offices. Yun po yung proposal ng PGCA with regards to that. Sa ating po mga SUCs, again, please take note po regarding this one. We need to maximize our guidance counselors. Question here, may I ask for the difference between MA and counseling? Okay, MA Ed and MA. Okay, so MA Ed, nag-focus ka sa actually sa education, nag-major ka in guidance and counseling, while MA in counseling is more of general. So hindi lang siya pang education, but rather as a general one. Okay. Question, will it not be technically inappropriate to do the training in peer counseling for students? Ikaw, very good question po. When it comes to peer facilitators natin, we don't, yung peer counselors natin, peer facilitators, what we can help, we can subscribe or let them subscribe is they can do PFA po. Look, listen, and link. So basic natin po na help. But counseling per se, you need to have a licensed counselor or psychologist to do that. Okay, when it comes to counseling po. But we can train them on the PFA. Look, listen, and link. Sino po ba talaga ang pwedeng makapagbigay ng counseling? Again, based sa ating existing law, very clear po RA 9258 and clear po ang RA 11029, yung yung law ng counselors at law ng psychologists na they can do counseling po. Okay? As of now, yun po yung klaro. Expressly, expressed. There are express provision na sila po yung makagawa ng counseling. Para clarify po, I was told by an RSI and RGC that everything an RGC can do, RSIs can do po, or not vice versa. Okay. I think, Sir Ed, last time I have discussed again, I'm basing po sa law. Okay. I'm basing from law, even though, for example, we may have traditions, pero I'm basing from law. Okay. Now, klaro po na si counselor makagawa ng counseling and career guidance. More of career. Si psychologists can do counseling and diagnosis. In short, both professionals or both professions can do counseling. But if career po yung pag-uusapan, psychologists can refer that to the counselor. If needs talaga ng diagnosis, depression, clinical depression, general anxiety disorder, or mga disorders, schizophrenia, I would suggest, again I would suggest we better give it to our psychologists. Even though some of us may be standing on the tradition that actually we can do this, we can do that, just like sa ating psychologists. Again, ako po ay tumitingin sa ating batas kung saan dapat po when it comes to diagnosis, since it's a psychological assessment, ibigay po natin sa ating mga kasamahan ng mga psychologists. Okay? But counseling, since it is expressly provided by RA 9258, Guidance and Counseling Act of 2004, and RA 10029, Psychology Act of 2009, then both counselors and psychologists can do counseling. Other questions? Let me see. Let me see if we have still questions. Ooh. Question, is an RGC not allowed to teach professional course like child psychology in education course? Very well, in a sense tricky. I'm not in the higher education, but please take note of this one. Both laws nagbibigay ng clarification dito. Number one, pag you are teaching a subject of the profession na board subject. Okay? So talagang dapat RGC yan or psychologist yan or a licensed professional. But if, for example, aligned sila, what does that include? It excludes, then again, it depends on the head of office po if you're talking about po sa SUCs. Okay? So yun po, basta yung clear lang dito, basta yung course or basta yung subject po ay board subject, then definitely you need to have a professional who will teach them. Okay. Para again sa ating mga counselor designates, again po, you can do PFA po. And we can make it as our lifestyle. Okay? Look, listen, and link. So we can make it as a habit. We can make it as a lifestyle. So clear po tayo dyan. Siguro some of our designates or our advocates may mga hugot mapanghusga yung ibang ibang counselors and ibang psychologists daw. I mean siguro from the end of the counselors, no. Clear din po sa amin na we are fighting for our profession. So you need to understand din po na this triggers this situation might also trigger the sensitivity of our counselors. Just imagine a person who is fighting for his or her life. What do you think his or her reaction on that? Okay, so for our viewers, just imagine what do you expect from a profession who that is fighting for its life. Okay? So yun po. So you expect na syempre talagang lalaban at lalaban yan. That is why we have to advocate this one big fight for counselors. Okay? Thank you so much. Sir, isn't the role of human resource practitioner to do counseling? Again, klaro po sa batas. Ang makagawa lang po ng counseling are psychologists and counselors. If there are other professions who would claim that they can do counseling, then they have to prove it. Because dalawang batas po expressly, kumbaga nakatatak po doon by letter na sila po ito, dalawa, counselors, guidance counselors, and psychologists lang po yung deliver ng counseling. So if the human resource practitioner is an RGC or a psychologist, then go ahead, do a counseling. Yeah, yes, tama po, overlapping of responsibilities. Oh, very good question. Kung ako po ay BSE Math, Secondary Education, yeah, Math graduate, pwede po akong kumuha ng guidance and counseling as my master's degree? Well, the law does not prohibit you. Okay? Pwede din allied kasi education eh. Pero it will be up po sa ating higher education institution kung tatanggapin ka directly or you still need to undergo some sort siguro of bridging program. So depende na po yan sa HEIs po natin. Let me see. Another thing. Let me see more questions natin. Yeah, ayan. How about po yung counseling work ng mga social workers? Again, yung batas po yung aking pinanggagalingan. In RA 4373, wala po nakasaad sa batas ng social workers. Yung hindi po na-discuss doon yung counseling. Siguro if they have the IRR, if the right now, black and white, if they have an IRR, well, from our neighbors dyan sa PSSC, if they can post the IRR ng RA 4373, yung Social Work Act, well, na nakasaad doon yung they can do counseling, then mag-iiba yung point natin dito. However, since for now wala, it's up again for the professionals na claiming they can do counseling to present po yung kanilang legal basis na they can do counseling po. Then, meron po akong nabasa na possible po na mga conduct ng counselors ng projective test as long as naka-undergo ng training kahit hindi licensed psychologist. It is true po ba? Kasi if we look sa context ng psychologist, may levels sila, levels A, B, C. Again, but remember, yung projective test na to, depende kung saan to gagamitin. We go to the purpose of the test. Is it for counseling? Is it for diagnosis? Is it for human resource, for hiring? Okay. Now, if si RGC po ay nag-conduct ng projective test, psychological test po, the purpose is other than counseling, then we may have, again, I have to clear, we may have a problem on that. Okay? Based po sa pagkakaintindi ko ng batas, okay? Kasi yung goal natin is for counseling. But again, as a professional, you need to be trained, you need to be competent, and you need other professionals who can help you. Okay? Hindi po RGCs, again, kinaulit ko, RGCs are not Superman or superheroes. We need the collaboration of others just like the RPMs, just like the RSIs, and even the social workers. That is why may isang bill na nakita ako sa Congress. Maganda yon. Parang it's a multidisciplinary team sa school na may psychologist, may counselor, at saka may social worker. Yes, kasi pag ganun yung setup, si social worker yung gagawa ng home visitation, hindi si teacher actually. So again, 'di ba? So sa ating mga teachers, mga kapaguro, home visitation. Ano ginawa mo? Nag-home visitation ka ba? Okay, siguro if we have social workers na sa schools, then these social workers can definitely lend a hand or lead the way for us. Si teacher lang sasama so that may feel siya ng area. Okay? But definitely in case management or in case work, okay, social work talaga yon. Then magko-collaborate na si counselor or si psychologist if the social worker deemed na kailangan niya ng specialized intervention. That would, for example, counseling. So yun po, talagang if there is a mutual respect, mutual understanding, even though nag-overlap, yet kumbaga klaro, hanggang dito lang po ako, so I have to give it to the other professionals. Sana we look forward na in few years from now, ganun po yung mangyayari at hindi lang po hindi lang po na kanya-kanya lang. Okay? There is a chat here from So RGC, who is also trained in psychological assessment in his or her doctoral program, can do psychological testing and assessment. Yes, from our PR board. But of course, siguro another safety feature here is that under the supervision ng isang licensed psychologist to be safe para kay RGC. Yes, tama. We can do psychological assessment if it is part or nakakuha na siya sa kanyang subject sa psychological testing and assessment. But to be safe, dapat under the supervision of a licensed psychologist. Thank you po, Doc Carmen. Pero pwede pong bang makabigay ng advice sa mga kaibigan na may problema? Okay lang ba yun? Again, advising is one-way process. In short, you might be already imposing. Okay? You might be imposing if nag-advise ka po. Okay? So, yung point ba na you are imposing? Kasi dapat we have to respect the right po ng tao to determine ng kanyang decision. So, if you're imposing, for example, that is not already his decision. You're forcing him or her. Okay? So what we can do again is look, listen, and link. Okay? Okay, just to be there. Baka nag-ano lang yan, gusto mag-vent out. So we listen without any judgment. So if you need niya talaga sa career or need niya talaga specialized in service, just like counseling, then you have to link or to refer. Pero baka yun nga sobrang excited ka na mag-advise. Pero yung kaibigan mo, nangailangan lang ng tao or example, a shoulder to lean on na makikinig lang and nag-advise ka, you might do more harm than good. Okay? So, how about pastors? Is he or she can give yan. Another thing. Well, in the spiritual counseling, again, dapat may training si pastor or si spiritual leader on that. But again, matatawag natin yan na counseling if he or she is using already a technique. Okay? So we would like to encourage our religious leaders or pastors, even sa sa ating sa CBCP Commission on the Seminaries, or even in the Commission on Laity, or in those commissions. Now we have to also we have to encourage priests or even seminarians as part of their career. Well, ako, dati din po ako sana na magpa-father din. But yes, I became a father too, pero with small letter F. Okay, so I would encourage po yung ating church leaders or pastors and spiritual leaders na, well, as part of our training, hindi namin kaya to na RGC. We need the expertise of our spiritual leaders also. And well, if you can see even in our PGCA board, we have priests. Oh, nandyan po si Father RC, nandyan po si Father Ted, and of course in the PAP there are priests din po na psychologists. So those things po siguro we would encourage our religious leaders on that. Okay, siguro sa two more questions, no? Okay. Okay, another question. Kung BEd, elementary education, at may 27 units MA counseling, okay, pwede na po ba maging guidance teacher or coordinator? I don't know the context ng question, pero in case, if the context here, again, we go on to terminologies. If the context in public school, for example, when we say guidance teacher, just imagine guidance. So guidance and counseling or guidance, di ba interchangeably yan according to the IRR of 9258. Now, if you are a guidance counselor, you need a license to be called a guidance counselor. To become a teacher in basic education, you need a license. So, pinagsama mo yung dalawang profession. So, therefore, dapat may dalawa kang lisensya. That's a guidance teacher. Okay? If you would say that you are a guidance coordinator, si guidance coordinator, it might be an item. Again si guidance coordinator dito is an item if it is yung kanyang context is public school or public service. It's an item. So you need to have a license so that magiging guidance coordinator ka. If it is only a mere designation, so syempre, how can you exercise the practice of guidance counseling if you are not a license? Okay? So, very clear din po sa atin, basically, in 2015, we have some cases po sa civil service and in the DepEd na si civil service, they nullify the appointment ng mga appointees, temporary appointees to guidance counselor positions. So remember kanina, sa guidance, example, guidance counselor 1, dapat 4 yung qualification standards. You have, example, master's degree, training, experience, and license. In the government, pwede kang i-appoint as temporary pag wala kang eligibility. Okay. However, the civil service, they have this what we call the encahonado rule or doctrine. Ano po yung nakasaad? Because this was raised by former Regional Director Rodolfo Encajonado. Based sa discussion ng civil service, based sa kanilang pronouncement, and even in the ora-ora, okay, when you designate a person to a position where in that position yung kanyang duties and responsibilities is a profession. When we say profession siya, regulated profession, dapat may board exam, dapat may license. Example, you are designated as a nurse. Nurse is a regulated profession. So in the government service, for example, si teacher, designated nurse. It is possible na si teacher magiging designated nurse if si teacher him or herself has two licenses, as an RN or as a teacher. So pwede yon. Now, let's take the case of guidance teacher. So dapat guidance counselor and and teacher. So dalawa yung license. So when again, in terms of designation, very clear po yung ora-ora sa civil service po, na when you designate a person na nag-exercise siya ng duties and responsibilities of a professional, dapat license din po siya. Okay? So for last question natin. Oy, very good question. Nag-uniting na po ako ng psych at natapos ko yung MA Ed in psych. Pwede po ba ako ng doctoral in counseling para makakuha ng board exam? Again, based sa law, the minimum qualification both for psych and for psychologists and for counselors is master's degree only. If you go back, syempre pwede. Because you have reached the minimum, which is master's degree. Usually, it happens here in the provinces. Na example, guidance and counseling yung masters, nagpo-PhD in psych. So that magka-cross, magko-cross practice siya. Unlike, kasi in the provinces, malimit po yung psychologists natin here. So definitely, kasi nag-umpisa pa lang tayo, definitely yung mga nauna will have to go first into cross profession. Kasi later, yun na, mag-vertically aligned na sila. Okay? So, when it comes to terminologies, career advocates po. Better to use career advocates when we talk about career guidance. Okay? So for other questions, please type lang po sa ating chat box, or you can send it sa ating Facebook page if you have other questions, or you can message the official PGCA or the Twitter account. Okay? So before we end, as part of reminders at the end of the webinar, so you will be having 45 minutes to answer. Yung post-test po natin, yung link po ng post-test and evaluation will be posted. Again, it will be posted po sa official page or sa FB page. Again, uulitin ko po, yung link ay nandun po sa PGCA official page. Kung may makikita kayo na certificate, dun po yung link. So please answer within 45 minutes. Again, uulitin ko, doon po sa Facebook page yung link. Okay? E-certificates will be emailed to your email addresses indicated in your registration and post-test. Please give us time to send it to you. Again, wag po magmamadali. We would like to beg your indulgence on this one. We are dealing with thousands of certificates. We might miss your certificate. You don't need to run po on the page. Okay? So, for concerns, again, please email po sa ating pgcacertificate@gmail.com. Okay? Huwag po tayong mag-email sa pgca.socmed because that is solely used for the social media activities and for information. Iba po yun yung nag-handle. Sa PGCA certificate, iba din po yung nag-handle. Okay? Then, schedule of upcoming webinars will be posted po sa ating Facebook page. Okay? Ito po yung mga natapos na nating webinars po since May. We are also trying to plan out for now ano yung mga ano po yung pwedeng kasunod nito after the June 26 po. Okay? So please stay tuned lang kung we will be extending po this free webinar series. Okay. Then, okay. Okay. We would like also to thank ang ating PGCA Secretariat team headed by Sir Dan Talusan, yung secretary po natin, Ma'am MC Garcia, yung ating Assistant Secretary, yung ating PGCA staff, Ms. Juvie Andelion and Mr. Vince Sarcon, and of course our volunteer, Ms. Justin Joyce Hual. We would like also to thank and express our gratitude to our FEU peers, yung for the posters and certificates, and yung ating pag-send po ng certificates, ginagawa po ito ng ating guidance team ng Far Eastern University. Thank you po sa ating TAMS guidance team. Thank you so much for your endeavor. Very patient. Okay? So again, sa ating pong mga participants, again, if you have concerns para po sa ating certificates, you email po yung PGCA certificate@gmail.com. Okay? So, before we end here, lahat po ng ating webinars ay you can watch the replay sa ating pong YouTube channel, PGCA PGCA Philippine Counselor. So tunghayan din po natin because we were invited, the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, to participate in the Thursday's Senate committee hearing on the education in the new normal. I hope na beforehand or before we discuss, narinig po ito ng mga legislators natin o kanila mga staff. Again, ang stand po natin, we need to have or we need to answer the root cause of the problem of the guidance counselors. Huwag po tayo mag-band-aid solution. And to end this, I would like to close. Again, it's #OneBigFight for counselors. And with that, thank you po and good morning.